There's no Matt. There he. Oh, hello everybody. We actually have a viewer. So if you're here, this is an impromptu. All of a sudden, Facebook reminded me today, and we decided to do a show. 5th anniversary of the first time we attempted this broadcast on the YouTubes, and so we figured we would come on here and do an anniversary show. Since we may not be doing one Monday, it depends on what you guys want to do. I will be out of town and unavailable. However, so we thought we would come on and just talk a little bit before our friend Jeff's show. Jeff's show is at 8, so make sure you tune into Jeff and Wyndon show if you're watching our show. But according to this, we have ones of viewers, so it's okay. No one expects us to be on right now. This is maybe recorded for posterity.
Jeff is on at 9.
Jeff's on at 9? Oh, well, we could have come on and done it at 8 and show prep. That's right, it is. So anyway, let me see if I've got it in the... Let me show the picture from back in the day. I think I still have it on here. If not, I'll upload
back in the
it.
day.
Back in the day. We used to say back in the day a lot. I said it a lot. I'm going to have to upload that picture again, I guess. We had a picture of us from those days. So 5 years. Can you guys believe it's been 5 because it was COVID? We started doing this in COVID. Our friend Bricksmith was doing this, Pink Bucket Nation and all that kind of stuff. So he kind of gave us a tutorial. He and a couple others that were doing this, and we got StreamYard, and we started doing the show. So you guys have hung with us, and we've had a lot of viewers. We have a lot of regulars on our regular time. We were doing 2 shows a week because we didn't have anything else to do.
Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? That the only reason we were doing 2 shows a week was because we couldn't go do anything.
We were stuck in the. And can I just say, I mean, we talked about last time. We talked about yes, Entertaining Lane. We are on at 7. We used to come on at 7 and do 2 hours. Remember that? We would come on at 7, do 2 hours, so we were an hour early and a day early for even a Thursday show. So we do Monday and Thursday. And our Thursday show was more of our guests. And I think what I'm going to do is pull up the tab in YouTube and scroll through some of the old thumbnails and see some of the guests we've actually had on the show. But it would also be great for us to just talk about what has changed just for each of us in 5 years' time. That doesn't seem like a long time, but yet again, it seems like a super long time. All right, great. Entertainingly Lame is with us the whole time. All right, hey, we're going to test something Entertainingly Lame. Let's see. We're going to put that. Keep typing, and it may cover up Dana, and that's just fine.
That's fine.
But
we're all fine here.
There's a beta feature where the comments can show up online. So I hope when the random troll from whatever the other thing I broadcast to comes on there advertising adopt orphans or something like that. That's cool. All right. Oh, there it is. Well, that's teeny tiny.
I can't. That works.
That's I don't think my vision with glasses is good enough to read that.
No. Say goodbye to your face.
I can come down here if I want to hide.
That's right. That's right. Please don't draw weird text emojis in that side chat over there. And please do not. That would be great.
Because I would never interact with said weird emojis. So,
Yeah. Maybe.
All
right. I'm going to turn them off just for a second. But that's a pretty cool new feature on StreamYard. Once you clear it off, it doesn't come back, and then you have to do things. All right. So in 5 years, we have changed quite a bit. Let me see if I bet you that picture. Y'all talk amongst yourselves. Let me download a picture of us from that broadcast back then. So hang on. Talk amongst yourselves.
Well, what's interesting is that I'm still working from home. Still technically doing the same job, but I think I've worked for a couple of different clients. But yeah, I'm still just working from home. Lego table in my office. Cats are usually sleeping on the futon behind me. Not much has changed in that aspect.
I am back working at home. I was working from home during COVID for a year, and then they made me go back to the office. But I did hybrid schedule, as they call it, and then I whined at my boss for long enough that they started to let me work from home again about a year ago. So
Thumbs up for that. Thumbs up for that. And of course, Chris is still not working from home.
I'm working though.
well, it's not really the nature of his job to work from home.
No, it is kind of difficult to bring those children to preach about the Lord to your house. They probably frown upon that.
Everybody do crafts at home on your Zoom chat.
That's what I do. I do crafts at home. You know, it's interesting though that in the last 5 years, I find myself buying less sets. That's been a big Lego change for me in general, which isn't saying a whole lot considering how many sets I have acquired over the last 5 years. But I do find myself buying less sets and buying more parts than I was. Matter of fact, I got in an order of Pick-a-Brick yesterday and did get one set, got the Jango Fett helmet so I can put it over there with the Slave One. But other than that,
I actually, Small Ball had a band concert last night, so I swung by Atlanta Brick Co. and I ended up buying myself the TIE Interceptor because this came in that set last year with the Mandalorian Fang fighter that was like a plate sandwich, and I never bought it for that reason because I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
And then the set came and went, and I never found a clearance or anything. So I was at Atlanta Brick Co. yesterday, and they had this one in the case, so I paid too much money and just bought this one there. So it was too expensive, but whatever. You know, I thought I'd go ahead and get it, and that way I'll have my TIE fighters.
There you go.
So I have the standard TIE fighter from last year that I got on clearance, and I got the TIE bomber just this past week with Space Baby. Baby Hans.
Baby Hans.
And now I got my Interceptor. So I got kind of the 3 OG TIE fighters that I'll have on my sort of stands in a wall over here, and have them with my Millennium Falcon and, you know, some of my OG Star Wars spaceships.
Minifeeder Collector, we might get to that if we have some dead air at the end. We talked a little bit about it on Monday, but we're gonna alternative plastics. Yes. But anyway, so you guys were talking about changes. I was glitching a little. I moved states in the past 5 years, so I don't work at home, but I work in one of the oldest cities in the nation, and one of the oldest parts of the oldest cities in the nation. So that's kind of cool.
That is cool.
But in fact, I had a nice, lovely walk downtown today, and it was quite lovely. Even then, it got hot. So, is it muggy? Are you guys mugged? Or have y'all been stormy?
It's been late evening storms.
It is fairly humid right now. I got home and just walking like from the car just to the mailbox and back in with the dog. I was like, eh, because like we've had enough rain. We had big thunderstorms last night that I woke up for. So yeah, it is plenty humid.
I did yard work on and off all day. So I've got an electric weed whacker and a battery powered mower, and the battery would drain down, and I'd come in and charge it and, you know, do some other stuff, and then I go back out and do some stuff. But it's the air temperature is actually not bad. I mean, like it today and tomorrow is like mid 70s. That's one reason why I'm trying to get a lot of yard work done before it goes
Matthew,
back.
it's not the heat, it's the humidity.
I was out there in there working today, so trust me.
I would like to state for the record that Matthew is a weirdo who doesn't turn his air conditioning on in the car until it's like 80 plus degrees outside.
87.
So don't listen to anything he's. Oh my! I would be sweating through my clothes.
I'm sweating for you right now, and I mean that in the most platonic way possible. So.
I prefer to have the windows down as long as possible, and when it hits 87, that's the temperature in which the windows go up. But there was a nice breeze. Like I went out and I was whacking down the wild, untamed backyard and mowing, and trust me, it's going to be hotter next week. So that's why I work today. Anyways, we don't really need to talk about the weather, but
I thought it was comfortable when I ran my errand real fast, but again,
Yeah.
I didn't spend a lot of time outside, but it wasn't oppressive, so that's a plus.
It was like when I got in my car, it was 98 according to the thing, but it was really 92, and there was a breeze kicked in. Breeze kicked in, but before that, it was super swampy in the Low Country today, and it was like this feels like August, and so it's supposed to cool off, all that kind of stuff. So, all right, so let's think about maybe some things in Lego life in general that has changed in the last 5 years. We've had had Lego Masters already happened season 1 when we started this, or did it start after?
It started after,
Yeah,
but we didn't do our commentary until season 2.
That's right.
Yeah. Because I think Julian was doing season 1.
Yep.
So we didn't do season 1, so we picked that up season 2, and Julian joined us for a good chunk of it. But we were definitely the sponsors for that post-show chit-chat.
Yeah. Speaking of Julian, I hope he watches this. Oh, here's his maxi fig face that I made of Julian back in the day. So Julian really did give us a lot of encouragement to start and do this. So we're indebted to him big time.
Do you still have the small Paul sitting around somewhere?
I do. Hang on. I mean, I got to find him though. He got packed away in a drawer, but give me a second.
I don't remember the small Paul, to be honest.
Yeah, he made a small Paul head that was kind of funny. But, small Paul is now large Paul. This is from his band concert last night, so you can see he is getting to be quite a tall young gentleman. So
I look forward to the day when he's like 6'3" and we still call him Small Paul for old time's sake. That's going to be awesome.
Well, absolutely. I mean, that's kind of like Little John. You know, we'll still do it.
Absolutely.
The small Paul is in here somewhere, but since I moved, I'm not sure where that part is. So
it's okay.
Like Dana, I would say I'm running out of shelf space, so I'm having to be a little bit more choosy about stuff. I've got the other day I was looking at my has not been built pile, and I went, I'm just going to sell that and that and that and that and that. I'm going to keep that one really big set, but I'm going to sell that and that and that. Like, if I put them together, where am I going to put them? And if I'm just going to part them out, I could sell the box and just buy parts off Bricks and Pieces for better and get exactly the parts I want. So I think I've become definitely a bit more selective, and frankly, lately I've been spending more money on hats than I've spent money on Legos. So 5 years ago, I had a couple hundred less hats than I do today. So that's the other thing. But
gotcha. Oh, I thought you said cats. Anyway, all right. So wait, let's compare.
One more cat than 5 years ago. I only had one cat.
Let's compare. So here we are, and this is our rooms from 5 years ago. You ready?
Slight changes.
Slight changes.
Painted Lady still behind.
Go ahead.
Oh, I still got the Painted Ladies, and the tower is up there as well. So those things haven't changed. But I am hatless. I feel naked. I'm embarrassed that I wasn't wearing a hat in that picture.
We're embarrassed for you.
I know. Thank you.
Yeah, but that was the era of the Millennium Falcon crashing into the Painted Ladies. That was always hilarious to me.
Yes.
So.
I could still do that. I mean, it's all I have to do is move the Painted Ladies back and sit them in front.
So wait, let's look at Dana. Dana, is this the same angle
same angle, same table. Those display cabinets are now actually on the other wall next to me. And that cat box is no longer there.
There's a lot more hot toys behind him now, though.
So. Yeah. So, well, I didn't have the mosaics done, so those weren't there before. But I would say out of all the things on the shelves, the only thing that's probably still the same is the Slave One is still there. Otherwise, everything else has been swapped out.
Huh.
Or is now in a different location. Like the space or the ISS is up in the far right now and stuff like that. So little things moved around, but they're now we're back. Now we're in the right order.
Well, the order of this shot. So Mark's is there. Yours has changed significantly.
Well, I'm a different angle because I changed my table a little bit. I mean, I could rotate the. It was just facing that corner, but I've got like, you know, a couple more bins, and the poster stuff has changed. I've got my. These didn't exist, the space sets, so I got those on the wall. I don't know. I've done a little bit of rearranging and things. I'm gonna have more bins over here because Dana gave me these storage things here. So thanks for the sorting work, Dana.
Anything I can do to help.
So yeah, I've got a couple of those to fill up now because all the stuff in Ziploc bags, I hope to get sorted into those storage drawer things that Dana gave me and actually get them up.
I can see Chris fine, but the other two I can't see.
Oh dear. Maybe StreamYard is lagging a little bit.
Chris was live for me the whole time, but the two of you I couldn't see at all. That was weird.
Well, I moved their pictures. I wonder if that goofed you up. Is it still messed up for you?
It's fine now.
Okay. All right. So my Lego room definitely has changed from then because it's in another state.
What?
I had the mega Lego basement and everything, and now I have a roof over the garage where Fonzie lives. But Fonzie's place was bigger. No, I like my new Lego room. I honestly, in the year that I've been here a year or a little less than a year. We bought the house and moved in July. But yeah, so this is the new Lego room. I still have a lot of the same table and same space for bricks. I don't have as much display space, but I'm working on it. But I think we all might have gotten to the point where we're like, man, I got a lot of stuff. I mean, it was the move that really kind of had to happen, right? But I had to downsize. But we are all like, man, we've talked about this on the show numerous times. When does the Lego fan go, I have too much, I don't have shelf space? And Lego went, well, here's a statue and here's a picture to hang on the wall. And Dana has filled up his wall with the pictures. So we're done. So I think we're starting to downsize just a little bit, right? I think all of us are doing that a little bit.
Oh, absolutely.
I haven't downsized, but I have run out of horizontal like shelf space pretty much everywhere, which is why tonight I was hanging yet another wall stand on the wall like these, because that's all I got left is like little nooks and crannies that I can fit these kind of flying mount things and put some spaceships on the wall. But I'm going to have to really make some decisions here too, because I've really got a lot. I've got things, this room had like this shelf that goes around the top. So I can put some little stuff up there, like the little Space Baby box and a few little things. But I'm probably going to have to do something. I've got a lot. I have my whole Monkey City over there on a big. I bought one of those sections of kitchen countertop from IKEA and put it on top of bookshelves from IKEA, and that's where my Monkey City sits over there.
I like that.
But it's full.
Well, of the three of us, you are the most disciplined about not having a backlog. I had closet full, and
it's true. I do have a backlog, but it is like a small, like, a little bit. I've got 5 or 6 sets sitting around.
And mostly that's because your clearance finding mojo is terrible, and with the rest of us can find it. So I think it is. So the Lego hobby has changed. So we have 5 seasons of Lego Masters. Season 5 is going on now. Maybe we'll talk about that at the end if we have a minute. But the 3 seasons that were before this, no, 4 seasons that were before it. 3 of them were filmed in Atlanta, and we kind of got involved in that because I lived in the town where they were near where they were filming, and we had Lego Masters coming on the show, and because of our connections, we had the last 4. We had season 1, 2, and 3 winners on our show, right?
Yes.
We didn't have Duck Brick on our show.
Right.
I just really didn't have any direct connection to him and everything. So that's pretty cool. We actually had all 3 season winners on one show one time, right? Which is pretty impressive for a goofy show that we.
Well, really, it's because of you, for the most part.
Well, we are a lot of those were old time fans and or friends from way long time ago and everything. So that kind of is the thing that's changed, I guess, for me is I feel as I'm getting older, I'm losing connection with the new blood, I guess, the people who are kind of the movers and the shakers in the Lego world and all that kind of stuff. So,
well, it's changed. It's now, it's not the lugs that are the movers and shakers as much. I mean, they still are, but social media has completely changed it to the point where Lego now basically, I mean, let's face it, registered fan media people, they're not casually doing Lego production or, Lego advertisement. They are basically paid employees at this point in time. I mean, for whatever they're doing, whatever their monetization they get from, YouTube or Instagram or TikTok or whatever, they're pretty much doing a part-time or / full-time job, a lot of them, just to create content. And that is strictly all for Lego. So,
right. And they're not paid employees. They do get free sets to review and do the thing and some invites to important stuff. There are those who hate that. There are some that loves that. I'm more power to you. Yeah. Go right ahead. All that kind of stuff. That's Lego's choice of how to do it. And we have good friends who are in that. Gene's version.
Oh, yeah.
Nicole. Yeah. Who've been on the show and everything like that. So back to Lego Masters, I think 3 of us have actually interviewed. One of us went farther than the rest. And one of the people who sometimes is on our show has probably been farther than any of us in the interview process. I'm putting the clue on the anyway. So, but anyway, so my desire to go on Lego Masters is now 0. That's something that's changed. How about y'all?
I don't know if I would say 0. I don't know if I would say 0. I'm definitely become jaded to the whole process, the whole thing, but I think things might be changing for season 6. So that might give me more thoughts to think, oh, maybe there is a possibility. Maybe there is a chance and seeing if things change. But the fact remains, it's still, you're talking 4 to 6 weeks of time that you're going to be away from work, family, and this and that. It's kind of unrealistic for probably the mass majority of people in general. Even if you get past the gauntlet of the weirdness of trying to come up with how to put yourself into an appropriate box that makes sense to the American population, you still got to take off the time and deal with the gruesomeness. So it's not 0, but it's close.
Yeah.
I would do it. I did not apply to 6. I think my NDA is probably over at this point, but I made it to the last round. Frankly, they didn't tell me I wasn't on until 20 days before filming was supposed to start. So they waited to the last minute, which I thought was kind of not cool, given that I have other people that I have to work with if I'm going to step out. My job would let me step out, and my boss, my chairs would be very supportive. But, at this point in my life, there aren't a lot of mountaintops ahead. So, if they called me up tomorrow and they're like, "Hey, you want to be on season 6?" I'd be like, "Sure, why not?" I don't have kids and I don't have a lot of other things that I have to wrangle. I could step out of work and I could do it, but I also didn't apply, which maybe says something about my level of motivation. Like going through all the phases of the casting was a lot, and last year was a lot personally. Like so, when I was thinking about this when I was walking upstairs, but when we started this show, I'd never spent a night in the hospital, and then now I've had 3 hospital stays. So like,
You got to stop that, by the way.
It's been a interesting year and a half. So, but I don't know. Like I said, there's not many like mountaintop things left at this point in my life. If the opportunity presented itself, I would go on. But honestly, the reason I would go on would be not so much about just being on TV, but like everyone that has been a cast member has talked about what great friends they made on the show.
Yeah.
And
The experience for sure.
to me, that would be the motivation, like to be involved with something that's fairly intense and, you're all in it together. And that appeals to me. I would be willing to do it for that reason more than anything else.
Yeah. That's part of the reason why it's not 0%. Is definitely because of the opportunity to have that experience is definitely something I would still want to try and do.
Yeah, fun trauma buddies apparently. For
yeah.
But I'm also realistic that at 54, when we did the like day-long Zoom build for the final round of casting, I was worn out, and that was one day of building. I mean, we did get like an hour break for lunch, but when I talked to like the Ericksons and they're like, I don't know, late 20s, early 30s, and they were like, "Oh, dude, we were so worn out by the end." I'm thinking, I would be waxed after probably 2 weeks. Get the amount of time that you have to be on, and you have to get up super early and stay up late.
But think of how much weight you would probably lose.
Yeah, that's true. Think about
how much your feet would hurt. That is what I've thought about. Is like my feet would be killing me.
Well, I think didn't they want it putting mats down after season 2 or 1 or 2 or something like that?
How many times would I have to go like shoot up with insulin because I was,
Yeah, I
that's
still,
going.
I was never that gung ho about wanting to be on the show, because for one thing, the time commitment, but also just kind of hearing things from behind the scenes about. Somebody was talking about there being like a psychiatrist who was there, who talked to people on the show and then tried to like tell people, "Oh, this person said this about you," or whatever, to try to turn people against each other to get the drama BS going. And like that to me is extremely disgusting, and I don't like it, and I think it's really unethical. And that really is a huge, huge turnoff to me about the whole thing.
Yeah, but knowing that now makes me realize that I would just fuck with them. that it's like they tip their hand. They're looking for that, so it's like, all right, sure, yeah, I'll give you what you're looking for, and it's going to completely backfire on you, and it's going to be entertaining for me, which probably would get me eliminated from the show quicker. It would be classic, and it might be worth it. So who knows?
Well, I think
I also dislike when the show very obviously plays favorites with certain people on the show, when certain people are probably gonna not make it and they have a bad night, and then the show goes, "Oh, surprise, no one goes home today," and it's like, okay, I see who the favorites are.
Yep. Yeah. There's definitely, I mean, again, it's not, it is reality TV pandered as a game show competition.
Well,
but it's not.
There ain't no reality about it. It's
No,
quote unquote reality TV, but it is absolutely a TV show that has a narrative that they wish to tell.
Correct.
And again, We are more making fun or commenting, not making fun, commenting on production and everything, not people on the show.
Yeah.
They are being put through the ringer and do a good job. So
Yeah, absolutely. There's none of this is directed at any individuals or contestants on the show. It's all just the production of it and the fakery of it is what I have a distaste for.
False
Yeah.
drama.
yeah.
Well, it sounded like I haven't watched it yet, and I know you guys have, but it sounds like this first episode was it was more entertaining. There was more to do about Will's mustache than other things that should have been talked about. So there you
Yeah.
go, production value, I guess.
Yeah. I will say now we have a friend in our old gray whatever and our Bricks and Beer Discord. I don't know if we can. He posted on social media, but we have an old time friend who is building production props and stuff. So he built the Death Star thing and all that kind of stuff. But the show spent a lot of time, blowing things up and setting up the thing. It's like, can we just get to the people and figure who out they are and show the builds? Let's go. So.
And that's what I'm hoping, that now they've moved the production for season 6 to Australia.
Allegedly.
No, it's not alleged. It's
Okay. Anyway.
we can talk. I mean, I didn't sign an NDA agreement. Nobody's, I can't tell you who told me or who leaked the information. So it's going on in Australia. But supposedly the show is going to change its format a little bit, and I'm hoping that's because the production team in Australia will be more in charge of it. So hopefully.
Yeah. Fewer teams, more like elimination challenges and safety and big builds and long builds. Anyway, so Lego Masters has been a part of the show. We're not covering it as much this year, mainly because we're now in competition with the show. So because it airs while we air and everything. So
we were getting better ratings.
Do what?
We were getting better ratings.
That's true. Yeah. They had to bump us from our time slot, right? We were owning Mondays at 8:00.
What's funny about that is that the advertisement said it was going to be shown on Wednesday nights, but it was on Monday. Like, it literally said, I screenshotted it. It said Wednesday nights, but yet it aired on Monday.
Maybe it's the first episode and then they'll switch it.
It's
Is
possible.
there some sports ball thing going on that would have conflicted, or?
No, it's regular season baseball and the Stanley Cup Finals. Those don't air on Fox, so there's no sports ball Fox problems.
Yeah.
Well, if the Canadians are on the show, they won't compete with hockey. I mean,
But they do. I mean, every season's competed with hockey. It's like hockey's basically on like 10 out of 11 months, right?
Well, that's because it's cold in Canada 11 out of the 10 months. So.
Except that three of the
one of
four
our
hockey
one of our
teams are
favorite
from the
guests, Jeff Van Winden, is not on the show, so this is the best image of Jeff Van Winden I could get. So he's our resident Canadian. We've had many Canadians on the show, but Jeff has stuck with us, and his show is at 9:00 tonight. So make sure you watch that. Jeff VW.
Hey, I gotta say that the Darth Vader 2-piece helmet that they have now in Lego is pretty cool.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, when they made that change a couple years ago, definitely an improvement.
Looks really
but
good.
you're supposed to make the whoomp sound when you put it on there and make the whoosh.
Oh, okay. Yeah, here we go.
And you have to make the gurgle when the back of the tank empties.
And I also have no idea who Vice Admiral Sloan is. Is she from a book or something?
I believe so. I believe she's from a book
Okay.
or a video game. I'm not sure.
Oh
I
no.
know that's pretty sacrilegious for me to say. I don't know, but
Dana,
yeah,
beginning to doubt your powers of the Force.
I know. Well, my comic book collecting was supplemented because of Lego purchases, and I don't play video games as much anymore. So, yeah, I can't say. We could Google it if we really wanted to, but
Nah.
We could go to Wikipedia.
Wikipedia.
That's Jeff Van Winden's part. He looks things up on the internet for us. So
That's true.
That's true. He's not here.
That's right. So some of our
Exactly.
regulars, Steve Polda has been quite regular with us, and this is Steve's sig fig he gave me. And
Steve
Meredith,
Paluda.
Meredith and Nat have been on the show quite a lot. In fact, she was on the second broadcast, but our first broadcast was just us. So that's why we did this tonight and everything. So, all right. So let's talk about what else changes. What are some things that you have accomplished in your hobby in the last 5 years? A lot of it, we've all built a lot. Dana is probably going to be topping that list and everything, but we've all had some pretty cool builds that we have done. So let's talk about that. What have you accomplished over the last 5
Well, I
years?
think the first thing I have to say is that I'm no longer a bridesmaid. I finally got to be a bride, and I got my brick from Brick World Chicago. So that was cool. That was cool. That was fun. And both Matthew and I have done some rather large builds.
Yes, you have.
And I would say that even if I discount the cost of the mosaic for Bowie, even my monochrome habitats, when you break it all down, it's quite a large piece count. It's a lot of small pieces, but a large piece count was involved. And I would put myself brick to brick with Matthew as far as being a parts nerd, just because I got so much part knowledge by working in monochrome, because I was having to go deep diving because I wanted to try and achieve a certain technique, but I didn't have the part in that color, so I had to figure out a different way of doing it. So I really got deep into the lore of old parts just to try and take advantage of those colors. So lots of stuff.
For me, also built very large mosaic, which is to me one of the funniest things about Dana and I both working on huge mosaics is that we didn't tell each other until we had each already independently started our mosaic. And then I don't remember who said what to whom, but I was like, well, I'm kind of working on this 100,000 piece dot mosaic. And he's like, well, I'm kind of working on a, 80,000 dot mosaic too. Wow. Fancy that. So that was funny. We kind of joked that we're like the brothers by different mothers kind of thing. But yeah, that was just one of those times where I'm like, I can't believe I started Giant Mosaic and Dana independently, not knowing that I was doing it. Started the same kind of project. So
some people might think that that one of us was trying to steal the other's thunder or something like that, and it was like a race to get them done. Like, no, actually, it just kind of it just kind of organically worked out that we both finished them almost within the same couple of weeks.
Yeah, it was
because
very
we were
close.
both waiting on lug bulk parts to finish things off.
Well,
oh man, I remember y'all whining about lug bulk parts getting here.
I gave up on the lug bulk. I realized that I would have to spend every dime of my lug bulk allotment. Oh, we're not supposed to talk about this anymore. You have to delete this later. But anyway, so the thing I was getting around to was partly because of the mosaic and partly because I wanted to get out and meet people in person. I've gone to a whole bunch of shows around the country and I've built less but traveled more. So right after COVID wrapped, we had our Atlanta show. I went up to Brick Fair, Virginia, and just had a fantastic time at Brick Fair, Virginia. People were super nice. I met Magnus for the first time, who's been on our show many times, but first time I met him face to face. And our favorite John Denver impersonator was also up there. It's
closest to Magnus as I can do right there. So
that is very Magnus.
And then so I think all four of us went to Chicago. I went to Chicago 2 years in a row, and then I went to there he is. And then Salt Lake, went up to Salt Lake and had a fantastic time. Got to spend some time with Cody and other folks up in the western part of the country, and see some builders who I've only ever seen their work on Instagram. Got to see their builds in person, which was really cool. And then last summer, went to both Austin, Texas, and to Canada. Went up to VW's home show in Toronto and really was fun. I mean, so, you know, I guess one of the things that doing this show and getting to meet people from around the United States who build, it encouraged me both to take the Mosaic out because it's, you know, I'm going to retire it. It's not going to keep traveling forever. Wanted to show it off in different parts of the United States, but also just meet people. And so no matter what part of the country I go to now, I know Lego people, and that's kind of cool. So, like Tim,
not show viewers. We none of that. Just people. Right, I got you.
well, like Tim Hutchins, who was on Lego Master, I took him back to the airport when he came out here to Atlanta a year previous, and he's since moved from Texas. I think he's in Central Oklahoma now, and he's like, well, when you come through, you got to stop in and, you know, hang out, like see me, because he knows I'm also, my other obsession is counties and trying to visit all of America's counties. And so, you know, like one of these days I'm going to be out in Texas and I'm going to drop in and, you know, hang out with Tim for a bit. And went out to see my parents in Denver, and Moto's son and Thomas and I went out for the famous taco truck with the broken glass sitting on the sidewalk. But it was great. I had a great time. So getting to chat with Moto here and then actually getting to see him face to face and go to the Lego store with him was really nice. And so I think one of the things I take away from our 5 years of doing this is turning some of these virtual acquaintances into like face-to-face chats, and that's been a real pleasure. And periodically it's I don't want to say scary, it's a little unnerving when I've gone to shows and people come up and be like, hey Matt, and I'm thinking I have no idea who this person is. Either they watch Old Gray Bricks or they follow me on Instagram, and I really wish I knew their name, but I don't.
So that's for sure. So I'm trying to think. I went to Brick World Chicago and then just basically stayed. Well, we lost Birmingham in the last 5 years, but we have really seen Atlanta Brick Convention become a major show, and I think a really big shoe. But we have been predicting that and saying that if somebody would invest in it and get it going, Atlanta would be a big show. And shout out to Nick and Amanda and Brick Fan Expo for doing that and really pouring in and doing a great job getting influencers and other things to come and make the show grow and be healthy. And I, you know, this last one, I took less and tried to do and visit more, and it was a fantastic show. So kudos to that's grown and going to continue, and it will be the show that I travel to every year, it seems. And I will do Greenville, by the way, in November, so you guys could try to do that, do that show. That'd be great.
How about North Point Lego Store on Wednesday? Will you do that? What show?
I will. No, it will not be North Point. It will be Sugar Loaf.
The
Oh,
loaf.
Sugar Loaf. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I could practically walk over then.
Well, then you start walking, and I'll see you there on next.
We need
Wednesday.
to go to Beto's Tacos when you're here. That's the place.
All right. Yeah. I will be sliding through the Atlanta area coming back from a thing that I'm doing in Birmingham, and I'm going to stop and see some friends and then probably head up to Sugar Loaf. And
Is that where you're going? Is Birmingham?
I'm going to Birmingham. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to go Saturday, spending the night with my dad, then go Sunday and do that, stay there till Wednesday morning, and then head back. And I got to go through Atlanta anyway. So I'll probably stop in Kennesaw to say hello to some people and then head up to Sugarloaf. So,
So you missed Birmingham by a week.
Yeah.
Could have made it a full thing.
That could have been a thing. I would have liked to have done that. I don't think it didn't sound like it looked like the show was good. We talked about this Monday, but it didn't seem like a lot of folks from Atlanta went.
And I wonder if that has a little bit to do with because Atlanta now has a show, and therefore it's easier for us to just stay home versus trucking to Alabama. And in Alabama, Atlanta's becoming a little more of a destination than Birmingham because there's a little more to do here, even if you don't stick around the convention area. So maybe that has a little bit to do with it. I know that Ginny, who took Wild Bricks, went to go set up, did not have quite nearly the amount of sales that she did when she was in Atlanta for ABC. So I think that could do one of two things. A, the area, because the area in which Atlanta BrickCon is kind of part of the Golden Triangle, so a lot of disposable income for that type of thing. But at the same time, I was talking to Chris at Bricks and Minifigures here in Johns Creek, and we were talking about how, we all have to eat 3 meals a day. So, figuratively, we're going to eat enough that we normally eat, whether it's 2 meals a day, 3 meals a day, or 1 big meal a day, however you want to do it. But that's not going to change. But the price of those meals is going to go up and has been going up. And even though they say it's supposed to come back down, it's been going up and staying up. And people are probably not in the same mind frame that they were a year ago, where they're like, oh, I got extra money, I'm going to buy this set, or I'm going to buy these 3 sets, or I'm going to do this. Where now I'm like, I'm going to hold off because I'm not really quite sure what's going on in the next 6 months or next 3 years. So maybe the Lego bubble might actually pop this year, which I hope doesn't, but I have a feeling it might. So
I wonder about that. With
Cue Chris's Lego's gonna go bankrupt. Oh my god!
I've never said it's going to go bankrupt. I said at some point that bubble does have to pop. And sometimes when I walk into certain Walmarts, man, they got a lot of backlog up on the shelves and everything, and it's like that'll go flying out at Christmas.
Bankrupt.
Yeah. Well, let's analyze it. Let's see what were the things that made Lego almost go bankrupt many years ago. Too many parts,
themselves,
too many colors,
yeah.
Too many lines, crappy sets. Let's just go ahead. Anyway,
amusement parks.
Yes, they got
too much apparel. They didn't know what each set costs to produce, like basic accounting. That's one reason they almost went bankrupt.
Yeah, it is.
Because they ran it like a family business and not like a major corporation, which it is.
That is true. I will say in the last 5 years, we got the really cool run of Target Space stuff, from the Target Space shirt and all the Target stuff. And that's one of the best shirts I've ever owned, just quality wise. I wish they would do that again, please. Thank you. That would be great, Target.
I really wish they would do. I was hoping that was going to not be a one and done, but that was going to be a hey, we're going to do this biannually or something like that. And, we haven't had anything since, which is unfortunate.
Not only that, but I mean, since the show started, we really honestly got the explosion of sets, big price point sets targeted at adults like Dana and I, which is why we're running out of shelf space.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, COVID really gave us that bubble that started to expand because so many people were at home and they were, sets were flying off the shelf and online and stuff like that. But I mean, they started that just prior, about a year before, when we got the Millennium Falcon. Not that they hadn't done a big set like that before, but they jumped it up in parts and price. And now it's not even close to being the most expensive set they produced. So, yeah.
And honestly, one thing that 3 out of 4 of us really, really like is Lego Space. And so,
have you seen my office? It's filled with Star Wars stuff.
No.
That's not Lego Space, man. That's Star Wars. That's a whole different
Star Wars.
That's a different theme.
Yeah, but we have, so we've gotten tons of, when you think about where we were 5 years ago and where we are now, Lego has really pumped out some classic space revivals. We got the Galaxy Explorer, which was probably the biggest news, and it was great. It got marketed horribly, I think, with Lego, and the one person in the room got to build a model of it for the thing that they never show. They never use that as an advertisement and all that kind of stuff.
It is on the website, but you have to know exactly where to look to find it. It's in the other room. You want me to go get it? The Garden Explorer. I'll go get the Garden Explorer.
So I think that was they were going to do what they do with Target with Walmart, and Walmart was like, I don't know, and we'll make them half off. And then everybody was confused about how much the thing cost. But we got to meet Mike Psyche because he came to town in Atlanta and hung out with us. And he made some of our favorite sets in space. So we've gotten new colors of space classic minifigures, even though it's usually been a hunt to get all the parts from different sets, and that's getting tired. But now we have two new ones coming out in one set that we will be trading all of our space or all of our castle guys to get more spaceman and everything. Yeah, there's the Garden Explorer.
Okay, now check out the junk in this trunk. It's Duplo pineapples.
You know, pineapples are the international symbol of welcome. So
Are they?
they are.
Well,
And if you turn them upside down, it means you're a swinger.
is that right?
So don't say you never learn anything on old gray bricks.
That's right. We have a giant one in Charleston.
That was a piece of new information I was not aware of.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
glad I've never
something
turned
that
my
I learned
pineapple upside
entirely
down.
against my will, and now all of you are learning it against your will. But
As
evidently,
well
it's
as you,
something that
that's how
people
that stuff works.
people on cruise ships put pineapples on their doors, and if they have them upside down, it means they like to kind
Are
of.
you serious?
Wow.
That's what
Wow.
I read. I cannot verify any of that, but
That's
that
what
is
I
read.
heard. Whoa.
That's what it said in the internet. I don't know.
Suddenly, cruise ships sound a lot more risque than I realized. Holy cow!
It doesn't surprise me about cruise ships being risque, but still. Yeesh.
Yeah. And in classic fashion, we have tumbled off into inappropriateness. But anyway, so back to that. So the Galaxy Explorer came out. We had the orange space guy. We had the space babies have come out in 2 or 3 colors. The new space baby is out. So they have, instead of it being completely off, they're at least trickling out some classic space stuff for us. The Renegade is out. So those things that we wished for, Lego did. So kudos to them. The Castle guys and girls are happy because Classic Castle has had quite a few revivals, and they seem to be a little more understood by the general populace, I think, than space. But
And
we got
I think at some point, the Lego marketing is going to figure out that they need to shift their age category, and they're going to start making the '90s nostalgia sets, and they'll sort of leave us behind. So I'm kind of enjoying it while we can, you know.
Yeah.
But
That's why I got the Space Baby.
We're already getting the Blacktron.
It would be silly of them to not continue because we're still buying. So it would be silly for them to ignore the ongoing. I mean, there was always their target audience was, 7 to 14 or whatever like that. Well, now you've got this bracket that starts in their 50s and goes backwards, but those 50-year-olds are still getting older and they're still going to want more sets. So
I can't wait for the Galaxy Squad relaunch.
I'd be there for it. I would be there for it.
Well, you've got, unfortunately, it seems to be the thing they're going to keep is that the new space is tied into city.
Yeah.
I watched the video by RR Slugger or whatever and everything. And his main complaint is that everything is NASA visual language. Mark, we've complained about that. And he's a big fan of 90s and 2000s space stuff, but he's right in the fact is that those left the solar system and those were more fantastical. And he had an unofficial quote from a former Lego designer is that the deal with Star Wars is if you're going to do space, it has to not leave the solar system into sci-fi. And that makes sense. But I mean, Lego Star Wars will always be its own product line. You are not going to diminish Star Wars fans from getting a X-Wing fighter if you make a new Explorians line or you go back to Spirius and everything. Now, I will say for 90 Space Lines, we did have the last line of space collectible minifigures. So we got Mtron and we got really good nods on that. So we've had a lot of really good space. Lego, thank you very much for helping us out and making us spend a butt ton of money to get a stupid minifigure.
Yeah. I mean, there was a point in time where I was focused really on collecting older sets that I didn't have when I was a kid. So that was a good 2.5 years of focus, which I'm still doing because I'm now getting to the point where I'm doing Life on Mars and Mars Mission. But it became I was running out of, I got sets that I wanted. So I moved on to another theme and to another theme. And I was getting to the point where I'm like, wow, at some point in time, I'm going to run out of space stuff to look forward to. But Lego has turned around and said, nope, we got more stuff for you. So that's cool.
That is cool. And well, let's think about this. So you touched on that, and let's go back there. So the adult fan focus of Lego really kind of blossomed out of COVID. So in the past 5 years, that has become more and more of a thing.
Yeah.
I will say that Lego is making more display sets for collectors than build sets for somebody like me. But it's the best of both worlds because I'm getting some really great parts, all that kind of stuff. And Bricks and Pieces has been something that has changed over the past 5 years to be in this little secret knowledge little thing to, it's fine. Come on over. We'll change the production and make it faster. And
well, we know for a fact from straight from Mr. Henkel's mouth that in many meetings, the response was Lego does not sell parts. We are not in the parts selling business. We are in the selling of sets, and that's what we're doing. And evidently somebody finally realized that was a freaking huge mistake.
And we didn't even mention them buying Bricklink too.
They bought Bricklink. They saved Bricklink because it was going to go out of business. So what's up, Dave? But yeah, so if it weren't for Lego, we still wouldn't have Bricklink. Bricklink would have gone away, or somebody else would have had to restart it all over from scratch, and that would have sucked.
Everybody gone to Brick Owl. So
whatever. They would have had to. And would that have survived, or would it have? Maybe Lego would have bought them instead. Who knows? But I also feel like Bricklink Studio has been huge. It's changed a lot in the last 5 years. Because Lego Digital Designer, while it did what it did, it was no Bricklink Studio.
Yeah, they didn't invest in it enough.
Yeah, and now it's a full blown CAD program, and they update parts as new parts come out. So that's awesome. Usually got to wait about 6 months, but yeah, they show up, and I've been working on doing some other stuff with some Gundam models and stuff, and I wish there was a Bricklink for Gundam parts because I'm so used to it's like, I need 6 more of this. I can just order them. Where no, you got to think about like with old time Lego. Oh, I want this. I got to buy. It only comes 2 in this set, and I want 6. That means I got to buy, 2 more sets. Arabash. Gotta love those pieces.
Yeah. This is a great part. This is a little. I think it's a Minecraft shulker box, but they've got the Imperial logo and the little Orabash on it, and it's for making the Gonk droid that's in this set.
Gonk. Do you know, matter of fact, that the first reference to that being called a Gonk droid was in Rec Toys Lego back in the early 90s?
No.
Really?
I did not know that.
Yeah, I believe somebody looked that up. Yeah, I mean, that's what we all called it, but it's just like the first instance they found it on the thing. And that toy back in the late 70s, early 80s was the best fidget toy I ever had because I would sit there and click the legs like that all the time. That and the look at what you did. How did you do that?
I did that, and then I don't know, maybe it was this.
He made balloons.
Because if you do, you get this. If you get,
But I did something, and it caused balloons to go.
Did you do like a jazz hand or something? Or
I did this.
Did you do this?
I don't know.
What the heck did you do, Dana?
I don't know. I unlocked a secret. I unlocked a secret.
Old people these days.
We're gonna have to look it up. There he is. Gong.
Nice.
Gong.
That's cool.
Gong.
Gong.
Oh, there it
There
is.
it goes again.
I manually did it that time, but I don't know what particular hand gesture does it. So
well,
don't go blind. Anyway, so what? That's kind of funny. So let's talk about this. Just one more thing. We did talk about used to Lego came out with so many parts it was bankrupting them. Now you cannot look. It takes me forever to go through a new elementary article about new parts that came out this month, right? Because there it is, the peace sign. That's cool.
Peace sign. Mark just did, but hey, new parts this month.
New parts. So there's so many new. There's so many new curves and so many new finesse pieces, new clips with studs and all this kind of stuff. The finesse parts and the curvy parts and all that kind of stuff. They are really killing it with that kind of stuff.
Okay, here's the one that Chris will be jealous of.
Whoa!
Oh, no.
Party
I'm
on.
buying a Mac, dadgummit.
Party on.
Lasers.
Lasers.
When
Oh,
does
that's
when does the Pink Floyd show start? Right after this?
That's right. That's right.
But
So-
and we talked about that a little bit. That it's the Speed Champions sets that are really giving us the greebly pieces, or not necessarily the greebly pieces, but the finishing pieces.
It's really giving your mom the greebly pieces.
Yeah.
The first one of the night.
Happy 5-year anniversary, old gray bread. Right there. Right there in your mother.
Well, I walked through the aisle. Used to, it seemed like last couple of years, every set was a mech. Now every set is a car. It's like
Oh yeah.
car F1, car. For some reason, a monster truck for the Hulk, but let's just go on past that. And
I was in my Walmart today, and they're getting ready to do inventory, and they're getting ready to do a reorg in their Lego section again, because Speed Champions was down like at the end.
yeah,
And I forget what was. I think usually Duplo is right there in the beginning, and now I saw that they're bringing the Speed Champions up where Duplo normally goes, and moving Duplo somewhere a little further down or whatever. So I really think. I mean, I find it interesting that in the Walmart or two Walmarts that I went to while I was looking for some Speed Champion F1 little blind boxes because I needed a piece out of them, and where there had been 2 cases, they were gone. So where I was thinking those were going to be a shelf sitter like video boxes, no, they wound up having to restock them because they were already out.
They're
So I
going
thought
for
it
the
was
Hot Wheels collectors.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, there is one. One friend sent me a picture. I think this was actually in Canada, where like you go to the grocery store and they will just take a big giant wire bin and throw all the Hot Wheels in there. Wherever he was at, that's what they had done with those Speed Champions blind boxes. They had just thrown them all into a big wire bin, just like Hot Wheels cars. And I was like, that's very appropriate.
I can't stand the things, but I am not the market for them. And if it's a great stocking stuffer, grandma shut the kid up going through the checkout at the grocery store thing, then more power to them. They were all at the Target at the checkout line, where the hidden the collectible minifigures usually are.
Yeah.
That's a $5. Hey, you can build this in the card. Please hush. Let's get the groceries to go home.
And actually, I mean, because Hot Wheel cars were like that when we were kids,
yes,
more so than they are today, even though they're, not like there's a slack in Hot Wheels collectors, because again, adults with disposable income, Hot Wheels cars are pretty easy to go to. But as far as hey, we're in the checkout impulse buy for a little kid, I think a car was always a go-to versus not a car. So the fact that, those will show up there, that's easy money, I think.
Yeah. And then another big change that has happened, we've gone from Leapin being a thing of just stealing Lego designs to numerous companies making, some would say, quality on par with Lego sets that are not copies. They are original designs, like whatever Fun Holes become getting the new name and all this kind of stuff. There is a big industry in that. There's a big industry in lighting and everything for sets and everything. And Mega Block Mattel has said Mega Block will be over there, but we're going to put out our own Hot Wheels line and compete directly with Lego in their backyard.
Yep.
and it's getting a lot of. I think it's getting some traction. No pun intended. Do you think we're going to see more of that?
Oh, I think so. I think so. I think there was some designer who was quoted as saying that they are very happy with the fact that there are these competitions from these other companies coming out there because it will make Lego push its envelope to keep them. You know, if Lego has no competition, they will get laxed and they will start phoning stuff in. And if other companies are stepping up their game, Lego's going to have to step up their game too.
This is how they go bankrupt.
Well,
They're going under.
they're going out of business. You know, who knows? Or maybe they'll just get more specialized, and there'll be they'll make a reason for why it's so expensive. I mean, I gotta say though, some of these knockoff companies, they are not afraid to use some new molds, some different parts that Lego doesn't produce.
Yep.
Then I think a lot of longtime Lego fans will be like, "Hey, I like that part." And it works with Lego, and it allows me to achieve what I want to do. So,
and it's not hard to get collectible minifigures or just minifigures that you want to stick on the new sets that Funhole makes,
right.
and throw away their goofy things and everything.
Yeah,
$1 billion of profits. Yeah. Lego's killing it and everything.
Yeah,
So,
when you're the number one toy company in the world,
yeah.
you should expect people to notice and try to horn in on your market. I mean,
absolutely.
But the quality's
Lego-
got better. That's the thing about like the Funhole sets is that I bought some Temu cheap dinosaurs that look kind of like Lego, and they got here, and I picked them up, and you could just feel how light they were. The plastic clearly felt inferior.
Yeah,
but the more recent Funhole sets, like they're much higher quality.
Well, that Galaxy Explorer wonky thing that was stolen from multiple designers to cobble together, the quality on those parts, if it wasn't for the fact they didn't have a stamp on the top of them, you wouldn't have been able to tell the difference, because the quality of those parts was really, really good. I forget who it is that made the Chainsaw Man set that I put together. Those parts were quality too. I mean, they didn't feel cheap at all. They felt quality.
I saw that guy at Target.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, I think they even wound up knocking him down already, because again, they have him in an area where they should move him over to where they have like their anime type stuff versus having it in the building bricks. That's just poor placement by Target, but yeah.
Right. I saw that. But I don't think retail. I mean, well, although Walmart has really put out whatever the MTV Astronaut and the tape and some of those things.
Yeah.
They had those on the shelf for a while, but I really didn't see them fly off the shelf.
Yeah. And again, those are niche things. So, and again, Lego has a strong loyalty. So it's hit or miss as to what will or won't work when it comes to a secondary market. I don't know. So,
yeah. And yeah, so Lego has also gobbled up quite a few IPs, which Pokemon is the latest, and everything. So,
well, and we're going to Star Trek set.
Yeah, the rumored Star Trek set. That's right. Right.
So,
and Lego seems to be steering away from their own internal IPs. You know, it seems like it's just going to be City and things in City, and then Technic and Friends, and then
licensed properties, which kills me, because that really kills the creative process that Lego gives you the ability to do, and it causes kids not to think about being creative. Which actually, I'm going to do a Lego or an art festival in 2 weeks, and that's what I'm actually be talking about, is using Lego as an art medium and using it for, building things that are your own creation, your own imagination, versus only just building what a set is. And because Lego, we've seen it. Lego's art. Lego is not just building cars and houses. It's an art form. So
Van Goghs, you can build Van Goghs now.
Yeah. So
that's a harder sell to some than others. Dan.
Oh, absolutely. It's absolutely a harder sell. You're absolutely right. But it exists. It exists, and that's what we have to keep trying to encourage. So,
and I mean, for me, obviously, my thing about building is I like building the toys that I wanted as a kid. That's just where I'm at and what I'm going to do forever, right? So, building a mosaic about killed me, and it is just not my thing, right?
If we want to torture you, we make you build mosaics.
Yeah. The only
Yeah,
reason I got built is
this
because it was a
guy.
space guy.
I didn't care for it a whole lot either. It was by the end of it, it was just like, this is some boring stuff. If this
I
wasn't
watched my
space-
mom paint by numbers. I don't want to do it.
Guys.
And here I turned around and did, all sorts of different colors. So,
I worked on one for 5 months. And you're like, it's so boring. I loved watching my 100,000 piece slowly come to display on my living room floor. I actually really enjoyed the process.
Oh, yeah.
No, and it's great. I'm glad you did, but that's you and where you want to go. That's the beauty of Lego is because you
First rule of Lego is everybody Lego's different.
yeah, exactly right. And give space for
I'm just like, I actually found it very satisfying to complete each second. And you're like, oh, it's all right.
I did too. I mean, I sat there watching TV and with my iPad with the screens up for what I was doing. I cranked through those at night. It was very relaxing.
Yes.
Enjoyed it.
no. Just no.
Poor Chris.
And Chris was like, oh, I'm one off. No, I have to pop these off. I have to count. There's too much counting.
Too much counting.
Well, no, I had this stupid guide with all the colors and the numbers on it. I'm like, this sucks.
Nobody uses those. It's not even useful. Novelty. It's a novelty.
Yeah, but basic AFOL move, you still have that strip that looks like the starting thing for stock cars or for drag racers. But you're like, crap, I need a red one, and you plunk that thing off of it. So 6, 7, 14, and 22 don't have a dot on it. Yeah, that's mine. Mine are missing dots on about half of them because I'm like, crap, that's the only one I got. Oh me.
Too funny.
All right. Yeah, we were a little past an hour and everything. Any other big changes? We've talked about things that we've built a little bit. We've all had some pretty big projects and enjoyed showing those at shows.
I didn't mention that my Monkey City project was something that I spent about 2 years on overall. And it's probably the single largest project that I've done.
Is that right?
Yeah, because I mean, it's like, I don't know, 6 feet long ish. And
Okay.
the only other thing that I've built that was that physically large was my my spaceship Asmodeus that I built almost 20 years ago when I moved to Atlanta.
Yep.
But Monkey City probably has more parts in it. It's just a physically bigger, more voluminous, parts intensive thing.
That's interesting. I'm honestly surprised because you've been building forever. You never really had a dark period, and you build frequently. So I wouldn't have guessed that. So that's interesting.
Well, I think we talked about this when we were at Intense's house. He's got a small paw.
It's true.
So he's got a small paw. So there's that.
It takes building time away. Yes.
Yes.
I will say Jake is not in a dark age at all. In fact, I snuck up here and saw he had built something. He snuck up here and built something. He is really into Fortnite, but Jake is also at that point where he is really becoming career focused, and he really is. This is a big change, I'll say, for us. He is loving school. He's loving what he's doing. He wants to take summer school, and now he is considered a resident, and it has gotten a whole lot cheaper. So, anyway. But he's super excited about school. He went and actually talked to somebody about where I work about volunteering and doing some extra video production and stuff. And that's cool. And so he's stepping up into being an adult, right? And he's got to learn that adults pay for things. And but yeah, I mean, here's the change in my life. My son drove into work to have lunch with me downtown. We went to lunch, discussed work. He went and talked to somebody about doing some work. He drove himself home, had to run by the store to get him some stuff, some personal things, some shopping he had to do for things, and drove. 5 years ago, he was 15. Right? He barely had his learner's permit.
Yeah.
So life changes, man, and you know, I could do a Ferris Bueller quote, but I'm not. But a lot of things have changed. But the thing that has changed is not changed is I appreciate the friends that come on here Monday after Monday, or sometimes on. Oh wait, where? Look! You were here. You were here.
We're here in spirit, my friend.
We got you here, man. This is as close as we could get to your minifigure. So, Jeff Van Winden, love to hang. Mark and I have known Jeff Van Winden for a long time, right? This last 5 years with you guys, really getting to know y'all better and better. Lifelong friends that we have. So this is one of the highlights of my week, to hang out with you, to hang out with our viewers and all that kind of stuff, and just talk about stupid stuff and sometimes Lego. So really appreciate y'all. We will continue doing this for the tens of viewers that watch us week after week. And so hit the buttons, like and subscribe and all that kind of stuff. Thank y'all for being here. Be kind to your neighbor, be awesome, and build awesome. And prepare yourself for loud noises. Good night, everybody.